All right, high rollers, a real treat today. One of the most recognizable names and faces in the world of professional darts. A 20-year playing career spanning the BDO and PDC, stalwart in the Premier League, one of the few men to beat the legend Phil Taylor at the World Championships, and a guy who is now, in his own right, one of the greatest commentators in the world of sports. He's known for those flashy Hawaiian shirts, and he is the author of Hawaii 501, Life as a Darts Pro. Wayne Mardle, at Wayne 501 Mardle on Twitter. Welcome to the show, man. Thanks for being our high roller today.
Thanks for having me. You make me sound like I'm about 90.
Listen, I just finished watching the World Championships. I watched every match, and man, oh man, I mean, how good are these guys today? The standard of play is just truly remarkable.
Yeah, it really is. Like, I've been watching darts and playing it since the kind of early 80s, if you like, and the standard is just obviously the boards are better. Obviously, the darts are better as well. They're slimmer, so there's more room in that treble than ever. But the consistency and the talent of these players is absolutely outrageous. And it's the way that, if you remember back in the day, all the movement that the players had, like Jockey Wilson, there's still a few of those about, but in general, they throw so much better. And when is the progress going to stop? We don't see 9 darters every leg, obviously, but we see so many 11, 12, 13 darters that it's becoming that you cannot miss. And yeah, the sport's in real good fettle at the moment.
Absolutely. I mean, the players are so good, and I'm wondering what you attribute that to. I got to say, it's got to be because of the money. I mean, when you add money in the big prize pools, those players start to take it seriously, and practice becomes more important for them.
Of course. I'd go back to, say, Tiger Woods in the late 90s. He became the first, what I would call really fit golfer to actually say, do you know what, guys, doing weights is the way forward. It adds yards, and look at me, look how good I am. And darts is the same. It's that, do you know what, we've got to be match fit. Some of them, of course, they're carrying too much poundage. It's the lifestyle, but you're 100% right that the money is everything. You start next year, the prize money for the winner of the World Championships is £500,000. 500,000. That's just incredible. Why wouldn't you want to be serious? Why wouldn't you want to be? So all these kids that used to take it up just for a bit of fun, like I did, look, you can quickly turn that into going out of a weekend and winning £10,000, £20,000 sterling. Then it becomes more than just a hobby, more than just a bit of fun. It can become a lifestyle, and the lifestyle is amazing now.
What do you make of the crowds these days? Is the crowd the reason darts is a fan-friendly sport, or is it more just the top quality play? Because those guys get into it. Those fans have fun.
Yeah, I think it's a culmination of a lot of things. Not because I work for Sky Sports, obviously, but I think they've had a major say in how the crowds react, if you like, and how the crowds kind of play along with what's happening. The walk-ons are such a fundamental part now of darts. It creates an atmosphere before the match has started. But also the PDC, the Professional Darts Corporation, they allow the crowd to act in a kind of, not boisterous way, but a noisy way. The security don't chuck them out for screaming and shouting. The players just kind of put up with it as best they can. But look, they shouldn't have to play in silence. And when I say have to, they shouldn't expect to play in silence. They play sometimes in a real relentlessly noisy. I like that. I think that adds to all the drama. And you start performing in that arena, you turn into an absolute. Well, you turn into someone that the crowd want to buy into. And once you start buying into a character, that's when the game is, that's where it should be heading constantly.
Oh, the crowd makes it such a great sport to watch, especially in a tight match when every dart counts. It really is a spectacle. If you haven't watched darts before, folks, you got to check it out because These guys are good. Okay, the 2017-2018 final, Rob Cross against Phil Taylor. Special meaning, of course. Taylor retired after the match. He got crushed in the final, but he left with a smile ear to ear. So much respect paid to him, and why not? I mean, when you talk about legends, this guy is the legend of all legends in any sport, isn't he?
Yeah, I've got to say, I thought it was a real awkward situation for Rob Cross, and it was an awkward situation for the broadcaster, which was Sky Sports, because someone had just become world champion, and you've got to acknowledge that, but you've also got to acknowledge that it was the last professional match of the most successful dart player of all time. So it was difficult for Rob to pick up the trophy and not get Phil involved somehow, but I thought he did really well with that. And Phil is Phil's an absolute legend, an absolute sporting legend, not just darting legend. What he's done for the game, maybe, just maybe now, we're not talking about it if he never ever showed his face on a dartboard, because I believe that Phil Taylor has had such an influence in the growth of darts that maybe it's not on TV now. Maybe, just maybe, I don't know. No one knows. But he's had such an influence on the world of darts, and I personally will miss him. I really will. Just not mentioning his name as a potential winner in any event is going to seem really odd.
Now, let me ask you, though, during your playing days, you ran across Phil many times, and you were on the wrong end of it a lot. Now, let's be honest. But you did...
come on now!
But you did get him at the 2008 World Championships, a thrilling match. You won 5-4. When you look back, 10 years from now, when you look back and say, man, I beat Phil Taylor at the World Championships, that's something not a lot of people can say.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm not saying what I did was better than anyone else, but I was the only person to have stopped him in the PDC reaching a world final. It reached every final from 1994 to 2007. So mine kind of meant more at the time as well. It doesn't mean as much now, obviously. But look, it was an amazing achievement. I had the game on the day, and I run him close so many times, but getting over the line is completely different. And that day was my day. Phil was slightly off, and I was better than him. But I look back on Phil as just this relentless winning machine. I played him something like 30 odd times and only beat him 2 or 3. There's players like Roland Sholton. I don't know if you remember Roland. Roland was world number 3 or 4 for quite a few years. And Roland played him 26 times and lost 26.
Wow.
That's how good Phil was. And Roland was a real good darts player, but Phil just destroyed us. He destroyed us. The world's a different place now because these guys, they don't have the respect that we had.
Well, listen, one of the things that Taylor commented on afterwards, and you guys in the broadcast booth did as well, when you look at Rob Cross and his emergence in the past year to world title and that semifinal against Michael Van Gerwen where he really came of age, he wins in the tie-break leg, held his nerve, bottle, you guys call it. I mean, this really sets up a rivalry that could be epic over the next 5-10 years.
It could be, yeah, you're 100% right. Rob Cross, 27, Michael Van Gerwen, 27, 28. I've got my months mixed up. I really do hope, and I really hope that Rob Cross can carry on, because when I know this not through experience, but through speaking to a lot of players, when you've actually got to that pinnacle, which winning the World Championship is, some players can think, wow, I've achieved it. I now need to stay there. But what you've got to do, like Michael Van Gerwen, is do you know what? I've won it, so what? I've got to win it again. I've got to win it again to prove it isn't a fluke. And Rob Cross has got to be aggressive. He's got an aggressive throw, he's got an aggressive action, he's got an aggressive way on stage, but he now needs to be aggressive in mind and think, right, the next tournament is the Masters. I'm going to crack on and win that. The next tournament after that is the Premier League. I need to win that. I need to show everyone that it's not a fluke. And Rob Cross has got all the attributes of a world champ. And like you said, That semi-final was one of the best games I've ever commentated on, one of the best games I've ever seen. The drama was outrageous, but I actually feel that the performance in the final was one of someone that you would have thought, if you'd have just turned over and watched it when he was, I don't know, 6-1 up, you would have thought, do you know what, this is a guy that, how many world titles has he won? He must have won a few, because he looks so accomplished. Rob Cross has it all. I just hope that he kicks on and just pushes Michael week after week after week.
You know, I'm wondering your thoughts on these guys that are at the top of the game. Michael Van Gerwen, Phil Taylor, Gary Anderson, Rob Cross. What sets them apart? I mean, is it just talent? Or, you know, I mentioned Mardle earlier. That's a big part of it too, right? Holding your nerve. It comes down to a mental game, doesn't it?
It comes down to a mental game once you actually get there. Getting there, it's not a mental game at all, because you only have one mindset, and that's being aggressive, and that's winning, winning, winning. The mental side of it comes in when you're there and you're trying to protect. I want to stay there, I want to stay there. This is where Michael Van Gerwen and Phil Taylor were different to the others. They don't just want to stay there. They think, right, I'll win this, I'll win this, I'll win this. They know that winning will keep them there. They're not trying to... Failing doesn't come into it for them. They're thinking, just carry on winning. Rob Cross has to think that as well. But the bottle, what you call it, which is what some people... I like to call it composure. The composure under pressure from the top guys is there for one reason. They know they can do it. They know that under all sorts of pressure, they know they have the composure to just, yeah, I'll do this. I've done it before, I'll do it again. And when they haven't done it before, they've got the inner belief. The belief that the throw won't let them down, the action won't let them down. Some of us, and I was one of them, I had no composure at all. Sometimes I did, but invariably I didn't. I had the talent, I had the belief, but I never had that composure.
Well, they say in sports that it's a game of inches. In darts, it's a game of fractions. You got to hold your nerve, and with, you know, the stage lights, the heat, the sweat, the crowd noise, it really is amazing that these guys are so pinpoint. I was going to ask you about the BDO World Championships and the quality of darts, where darts is, but you mentioned it earlier. Darts is in good stead these days. Some top quality at that World Championships as well. The play just getting better and better. One last question. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask it. One of my favorite commentators of all time. I got into darts in Canada back in the 80s, if you can believe it, when darts was nothing in Canada. And the reason was Eric Bristow, a true legend, world champion many times, my favorite darts player up there with Jockey Wilson, and of course Sid Waddell. I mean, that guy really made darts entertaining. He's passed away now, but he's left a legacy that will never be forgotten.
Yeah, I completely agree. Even now, Sky Sports, when we put a montage together, you feel obliged to put some of Sid Waddell's commentary in. He's got a timeless voice, and back then there was voices of sports. You had Dan Maskell in tennis, you had Sid Waddell in darts, Ted Lowe in snooker. There was all these Murray Walker in motor racing. Now there's 1,001 channels for every sport, and it just gets diluted. But even now, every now and again, I get compared to Sid Waddell, and it's kind of, look, behave yourself, just behave yourself. No one can be compared to Sid. I don't want to be put alongside an absolute broadcasting legend, because I feel a bit of a fraud, and others have been kind of likened to him as well, and it's all wrong. There's only ever been one Sid Waddell, and like you said about Eric Bristow, there's only ever been one Eric, and if anyone comes along tries to act like Eric, there'll be a failure. There'll be a bad fraud. That's what they'll be. And Sid Waddell, the world of darts owes a lot to him as well.
Well, I'll tell you what, Wayne, I'm a big fan of yours. You're doing a fantastic job in the broadcast booth. You're a big part of why the PDC is on top right now. And I got to say, as a Canadian, I love John Part, too. I hope you guys stay as a team in that booth and continue alternating on the matches. Wayne Mardle, at Wayne501 Mardle on Twitter. Really appreciate your time, man. Thanks for being our high roller today.
It was my pleasure. Thanks for having me.